Yay, people are here. Gallery view. Participants. Jen McCool. Anyone who doesn't have a super noisy background, if you guys could unmute yourself, that would be my favorite thing ever. That way we can keep it conversational instead of me preaching at everybody. That's my favorite. Hi, Charlotte Boyle. Hi, Nicole Gordon. And Just Kitchen.
Christina.
Hey, does anybody know who Galaxy
Yeah, she said unmute yourself. Sorry, I'm telling Tiffany and Riley.
There, okay. Galaxy S9. You unfroze. Super frozen. Gonna be attacking. I have my call snacks.
I have mine too.
Oh, the
Those are
bag.
so good,
It's not
Joey.
vegan. I want that. It'll make me feel like I'm pretend healthy. You are from Washington. We don't have the vegan ones around here.
Oh, they're vegan. Maybe that's why they taste funky.
They probably do. I'm sorry they're funky. Riley Dixon, hello. Come on. Hey, Angelina.
Or it could be that they're expired. Maybe that's why they were at the food bank.
I see a bunch of future directors on here this month. I hope you know you're in the running, right?
Okay. We were just talking about this. Oh my god.
I'm just saying, everyone who says, hey, Big D, I'm coming for you, has like 500 or more TWV less than you, so you better start claiming it.
Okay.
It just made my glasses disgusting. I gotta go watch them.
Claim that thing, girl. Claim that thing.
And Chris, when Christina gets back, I'll ask. What was that?
Time for the call, guys.
That literally scared the crap out of me.
I'm sorry, Tiffany.
I had no idea. I was like,
I like to be punctual.
well,
So exciting. I was gonna text you earlier, Tiffany, and I didn't get around to it. Hi, Keegan.
I was just getting ready to ask you before you went to go. I was like, hey, when is it safe to come visit you again? Like, is there like a
Right now.
an open date?
It is.
I'm on my way.
It is. Anytime you want at this point. Cheryl McPherson.
Thank God. Thank God. Look what I got today.
Ooh, I just got a box from them today for my eucalyptus tissue paper.
Oh, I was looking at that yellow gingham. I'm like, that
I have
is
that.
right.
I have that.
Do you really?
I have that one, and then I also I have a tissue paper problem. I'm not gonna be able to finish all of this tissue paper within my lifetime. So maybe if you come over, I'll let you buy half of it.
Okay. That makes it so much easier because $300 order.
I got this one. How pretty is this one?
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
That is so
That's
cute.
adorable.
But I have how many sheets of it?
240?
Like two. Yeah,
17 million?
I have two packages of these, and I don't know why they sent me so much.
Oh my gosh.
Because you ordered too much?
I was getting ready to say that. I was like, wait, did you order 2 packages of it?
Don't be hating. I have a huge pack of the yellow, but here's a little bit of it. I used
It's
it
perfect.
my lemon.
Oh, that's what you were talking about, Tiffany.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm like, that's bright, that's sunshiny. It brings me all the joy.
Matches everything too. The eucalyptus one, or the Then I also have I have the black and white buffalo check and the red and black one that I use around holidays. So it's just hard. Like, it's so much cheaper to buy it from there, but unfortunately, you get like 4 billion sheets of it.
Yeah,
Also, I've been buying my craft paper bags from them because they're really cheap, and I've also been buying my scent crate boxes from there now because I can get like 10 for $3.50, which they're not like they're not the thick corrugated kind. They're like bakery boxes, but they're really sturdy bakery boxes because I've seen other people use bakery boxes and they're like super flimsy, but these ones are really sturdy. Like, I'll show you.
Where is this from?
The bakery box.
Nashville
Look how
wraps.
sturdy they are. Like
Oh.
they're not flimsy looking, like the other ones. But
Oh. I just ordered the ones off your business.
Look, they have pink bakery boxes, so I bought some of those for this box.
Obviously.
Jen, I'll send you the link.
It's the best.
Thank you.
NashvilleWraps.com. So
Have you used the Regal bag size yet?
I don't know what that means.
It's like it's 14 by 10 by 15 and a half. It's like that would be the perfect size for like diffusers and stuff to fit in.
I think that's gonna be a little large, actually. I have this one. Hold on.
I have a couple large bags that I got from
I don't know
my
what
vendor out
size
here on the
this
west side.
is, but this came in. They have like a multi-pack that's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 sizes in it, and this one's really good for like 2 warmers.
That should I think that's the queen.
Regal's probably best if it's like a big order, but honestly, if it's a big order like that, I just use the Scentsy reusable bags.
That's what I use too, but they don't have the big giant ones in the store anymore.
Fart.
What? I was just gonna
Yeah.
order some of those.
They might just be out for the season and they'll come back out in the fall.
And then they'll probably have a new design in them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if any of you are waiting on this is a good crew. I'm excited about
So
everyone
many
popping
people.
on.
I haven't seen Riley's face though. Where's Riley?
JJ! I just saw you pop in the
Where's
middle.
Danielle?
And Sybil?
Connect to my laptop so I can.
There's Riley. Okay, I can see
Sandra!
it.
I've just realized I've been saying Riley's last name wrong for this whole time.
What were you
Been
calling
saying
her?
Dickinson?
Dickinson, yeah.
All the
That's so
extra
embarrassing.
syllables of love.
It's okay.
I bet you get that a lot though.
If anybody's waiting on the Rub and Sniff stickers to come back, the new releases, they aren't. So
Oh.
if you need to be sending anything out because you're waiting on those, I would go ahead and either do felt samples or just nothing.
Why are they not coming back?
The printer that they get all that printed with ended up super backlogged because of the COVID stuff, and they can't get them reordered before fall.
Oh, man.
So not
I
with
have some
everything
of
else,
those
they have to
extras.
have, like catalogs and
If-
stuff that have to be printed before fall. If we moved the stickers up, it would push the catalogs after catalog launch. So
Oh, forget that.
yeah,
I want the catalogs.
Yeah, I'd rather have a catalog.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest.
when we bought them, projections were based on normal Scentsy,
Right.
not whatever this crap is.
I have some extra sheets if anybody needs any.
That's exciting. That would be helpful if anybody needs them. That's JJ that just said something. So if you guys find JJ Cleary on Facebook, you can PM her.
I just
That's
got finished
awesome.
organizing a few sheets and I might have a couple of extra maybe. So
I have a question. You mean just for spring and summer, right?
Just the new releases. Yeah.
They're gonna do new releases in the fall, right? Like they're gonna do them again.
But new releases in the fall, yes, they'll have those. Yep. Yeah. If they pushed everything back a little to bring those forward, it would push everything past like catalog launch. So y'all are just working your businesses too hard. That's fine.
I'm not sorry.
Same.
Yeah, don't apologize for how awesome you are. Let me see here. I'm running a report real quick.
I'm not sure if y'all heard me, but I might have some extra scratch and sniff stickers if y'all need any.
Yay! Thank you, Nicole.
No problemo.
I'm sure I have some too. So
Maybe
You
we
might
could
have
do
to
a
sweet talk
thread
me.
or something where, hey, if you have any extras, like, and just see if anybody wants to like pass them forward to anyone who may not need all the ones they have. I just used all of mine. Mine are gone. So I just bought, with my recent party, I went ahead and bought a bar of each fragrance, and I'm going to try to make like little mini, like just felt samples of a bar each, and then try to use those for my Facebook parties. Because I send with my whenever I have a Facebook party, I let them request up to like 10 party packs that I can mail to their guests that are usually the rub and sniff stickers of just all the new releases on a piece of paper with like a showcase brochure. But I think I'll just send one of each of the new releases in felt that way.
I like how you totally did everything you just did, and I never asked you what you did
You never asked me what I did for what?
for your Facebook parties. I never asked you what you send, and then yet I send the exact same thing.
No, I used to send a lot more. I just kind of like try a few things and just kind of gauge how well it does. But lately I've just been sending showcase brochure, the new releases, and then another sheet of paper with stickers of the random other things I have. Like,
Oh, I didn't think about that.
because I've got a bunch of oil stickers and laundry ones and stuff like that. So I just kind of like put those all on a sheet.
Yes.
Hi friends. So a lot of really cool stuff going on this month. I'm really excited that we're having these the third week of the month because I feel like it gives us a really good like idea of what the month is looking like, which is awesome. And you guys are murdering it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up this report really quick though. So we have a bunch of you that are here right now staring the big D in the face, which is awesome. I am, hold on, let's see here. Hey, you guys, I think we're on, how many? We got 2 pages of people. Yay. Let's see if I can get this pulled further down. No. Okay, that's fine. 2 pages of people. That's the most we've had on a Zoom call in a while. That's more than I think we have most of the time on our all consultant Zooms. So thank you guys for popping in here. I am gonna run this report really quick. I'll see if I can do some shout outs of some kind really quick, and then we'll jump in. So tonight, I just kind of wanted to like talk a little bit about making money as a leader. Not like, I mean, we'll talk about it sensitively, obviously. Just what it looks like as your team grows, how commissions work a little bit, walking you through the commission plan a little bit, just to see if anybody has any questions or maybe teaching you something you didn't know yet. I am echoing on someone, so I'm gonna mute everyone, and then just you guys can unmute yourselves as you want to. That's fine. You're not muted forever. You can unmute to chat. I just sometimes if I reset that, it'll get rid of the echo. But we have like 10-ish or more people who are really pushing for director this month. So, which is insane because we had before this month or before last month in March, we had about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14-ish directors. And then we promoted 8 last month and possibly 10 this month. So more than doubling our directors in 2 months, which is only a little terrifying because y'all are getting big. It's like awesome. And then we have a bunch of star director potential here. We've got Mallory and Autumn both looking at star director numbers this month, possibly promoting. And then Sarah Ford, freaking Sarah Ford, is about 2,000 GWE away from an SSD promotion. So
Shut up.
I just wanted to throw up saying that out loud. I was really excited.
2,000? Yeah, that's totally gonna happen.
It's between 2 different teams, but they're both like, it's happening. They're both rooting for her and pushing towards director so that we can get there. So not only is it like possible, I'm pretty sure she's gonna solidly hit it and fly past. So that'd be really exciting. And it won't be the last day. One of the teams is already at about 300 GWV away, which will be her 3rd director. And then the other is maybe I think I had it wrong a little bit. It was 2,300 away. So yeah, even less than I think what I said. Or exactly what I said. So 2,300 and 300 in the bag happening. So that's really, really exciting. So if you guys want to text Sarah Ford and just cheer her on, just so she knows that we see her, because she's like, she doesn't, I feel like she's going to try to like sneak in on this and it's not. So I want you guys to let her know that we know it's coming, just to keep cheering her on, because I think she's just nervous because it's just like, what? Me? What are you talking about? It's a very terrifying promotion in a really good and also scary way, because you're like, okay, but then what? So just cheer her on and let her know, hey, we see you. But she is, I would say, 100% hitting the Superstar Director this month, which blows my freaking mind. It's our very first one, and I remember thinking this was never going to happen for me, and then just to see that it's now happening for others. And then it's going to be, if I had to like make a really, really scary guess at what our team is doing right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we had 2 or 3 by fall Superstar Directors on our team.
Wow.
You guys are growing at a pace that I could never have imagined happening. Especially, I mean, like even like Lacey and anyone who's been around for years is like, we had like 3 years where I think we just stayed pretty much the same. Like it was comfortable, it was fine, but we were pretty much all in just one place for years. And then suddenly it just went out of nowhere. Angela coming in with the win. She just put Sarah Ford's phone number in there. So if anybody wants to blow up her phone and text her and say, we know what's about to happen.
So Christina,
just she knows she deserves it, because that's a really, really hard part of that promotion too, is feeling like you're not worth it and you don't deserve it. So just making sure she knows she deserves it. We see her, we're cheering for her. Really exciting. And then lots of Star Director promotions. But we're looking at like 10 to 12 new directors this month if things keep going the speed that they're going.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Okay, so how many Superstar Directors does a team have to have in order to be in the circle of excellence?
It's not team based. It's actually based on frontline. So it's frontline Superstar Directors.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a long way. There's a reason it's hard to get to. I definitely know a lot of people who have like dozens of Superstar Directors in their downline, but they don't have the 6 frontline ones. So
gotcha. 6 frontline. Okay.
Yeah. There's only 3 people who have so far, which is just insane. But you know what? I think it'd be really funny one day if even just 10 years from now, half of the Circle of Excellence people are from our team. Like, how hilarious would that be? We'll just be like, we just decided we were going to come in and take over. Is that cool with everyone? Because we're going to.
So how many is it that there's supposed to be again? 10 frontline?
6 frontline Superstar Directors.
6 frontline.
Right.
Oh, well, that's way less than 10.
There you go.
Like, way less. And I mean, with you coming at it, I'll have 2. And then, maybe 10 years later, I'll have a couple more. And then
no, not 10 years.
Hey, it's all up to
make
you
me
guys.
puke.
I'm just here to play with you and hang out, and we're just gonna have a good time doing whatever we end up doing. I don't even care. But lots of really cool things this month. We've got a ton of people who hit director last month have already hit their numbers this month, which is crazy because it's the 18th. But if anybody wants to know if they're like in the zone, I usually say for anyone under director, double your GWV on the 15th. And that's your very safe estimate of GWV on the end of the month. But that's not your hustle estimate. That is just your like, at this pace, we might. But if you increase your pace, anything can happen, if that makes sense. So anything as far as on the 20th, if you take 50% of what you've got and add that to it, that's your safe pace, but that's not your hustle pace because anything can happen. So I don't want to like make you feel like by estimate, it's either possible or not, because the difference between just 3,000 group wholesale volume is all mindset and just attitude at the end of the month. So anything can happen. So I just want to make sure that you guys just know that no matter where you're at, you're on pace for whatever you want. as long as you are consistent, showing up and working with your emerging leaders. One thing I did want to talk about tonight, because I just talked about this with some superstar directors that were absolute idols of mine when I was a baby consultant, that aren't getting paid at title and haven't been for like 5 to 6 years. And so I actually got to help talk to them about building their future directors, which was mind-blowing to me. I did not know that these people were not paid at title, and just knowing the difference between, I mean, these are people with teams that are doing over $1 million in sales, but because their front line isn't positioned the right way, they don't get paid on several of their generations of leaders. One girl is missing out on $30,000 a month in pay because she doesn't have her 4th director.
What?
Yeah. So this is why I wanted to talk to you guys at this level.
That makes me sick, and it's not even me.
And superstar consultant and director, just to remind you what it takes to stay paid at title and to continue to grow at a healthy rate, so that you don't end up somewhere one day on accident, because that's where like people who accidentally hit SSD really fast maybe, because a lot of those people have been with Scentsy since the beginning or over 10 years. And so it's really just, they either hit it really fast on accident during a time like this, where maybe their team wasn't actually ready to. There was just a lot of other things going on that pushed them to that level. And then soon after, they either had people quit or people never retitled. There's just so many different moving parts. But what I was talking to them about, which a lot of you guys have heard me say, but I don't want you guys to lose sight of how bite-sized hitting director can be. I don't want to lessen the work it's going to take to get there, but I also want to make sure that you can visualize what it can look like for you. And at the very basic level, director is 10,000 TWV. Star consultants are 2,500 TWV. And so if you were to take your front line and find 4 people that you could mentor and coach to star consultant, you will hit director no matter what. Because if you can get 4 people under you to figure out what their why is, help drive them towards sharing the opportunity with others, increasing their PRV, working to meet new people, and helping them hit their goal of star consultant, you'll hit director on accident. And that's a very simplistic way to think about director, but I know that not all of our teams are shaped with 4 obvious coming up leaders, especially if your team is 5 to 6 people big, or, you know, even sometimes 10 to 15 big. You're like, they're all my front line, but none of them have anyone underneath them. So I don't know how to like coach that if I can't tell who's emerging. So use a month like this where we do have the $20 join kits and see who's at least really trying, and work with them on how they're asking. Because a lot of times when people are asking for recruits or they're trying to get people to join their team, and I know that we've probably all done it at some point, it's just they word vomit on them. They kind of overthink it. They overthink who to ask because they're afraid of offending someone. They're really afraid of driving a friend away, or they're afraid of losing sales, or they're afraid of losing their best customer. And there's so many different reasons why people will tell you they're not recruiting. A lot of times they're saying nobody will join, but what they're really saying is I'm not asking anybody because I'm really afraid. I'm afraid of what it looks like to be a leader. I'm afraid that they're not going to think I'm a good leader. I'm afraid that I'm going to lose my best customer. I'm afraid that they're going to say no and then they're going to never talk to me again. But I think the biggest reason that we get all hung up is because we feel like what we have right now is all we're ever going to possibly get. But if your dreams are really huge, which I know a lot of you, they are, and you're dreaming of teams, you know, that are 100-person big, 500 people big or more, at some point you have to remember that you don't know most of the people that are going to end up being in your Scentsy journey yet. And the only way to meet those people is to meet more people. And there's no limit to how you could possibly be meeting new people. You just have to be willing to be creative and have a little courage. And so I was like, it's honestly the 3 main components of your business is just being creative, having some courage, and staying consistent, and just washing, rinsing, repeat, and keep going over and over and over again. And don't be afraid to offend someone. The only way that you're going to offend someone by asking them to join Scentsy is by going, hey girl, I know it's been a while, but right into their DMs. I haven't talked to you since high school. We all know the people. Just remember, if you're asking somebody to join in a way that you would hate for someone to ask you, it's probably the wrong way to do it. Does that make sense? Or if you were to ask somebody for info, if you're word vomiting on them, think about, okay, if I had asked somebody for info and they did this to me, how would I feel? And just start kind of gauging, if I wouldn't want someone to do it to me, I don't want to do it to them. But then also remembering that if somebody did ask me this, would I be upset? If I was hosting a party and the consultant said, hey, I just wanted to let you know, you would get $100 commission and we could flip this party to you super easy. You could get your kit with your host rewards. I just wanted to put it out there. Would you be really upset? Like, I don't think so. I think you'd be like, hey, maybe not right now, but thank you for like letting me know, because I didn't know that, right? Would you host a party with them again? Probably. That wasn't offensive, right? And I think sometimes we overthink the ask because we're afraid that, hey, if I ask them and they say no, we're going to be so embarrassed and we're not going to want to talk to anybody again. It's not like asking someone to marry you and they say no, or asking someone to go out on a date and they're like, ew, no. That's completely different. There's no feelings involved in Scentsy until you get into Scentsy, and then there's a whole lot of feelings involved. But they don't know that yet. So don't worry about that. They're not rejecting you. They're just saying, hey, maybe not right now. And I know a lot of us who've been around for a while, a lot of our no's have turned into yeses with time. And so you're not offending them. You're just doing part of your job. And it's just like, and I say this all the time too, is when you're at a restaurant and the waitress comes by and says, how are we doing? And you're like, hey, I think we're done. We'll take the check. And she goes, did you save any room for dessert? Do you go, never coming back here again? That was embarrassing for both of us because I had to tell her no, she was just doing her job. And you know that. So it's not offensive, right? So you're just offering them dessert at the end of their meal. So don't overthink it. And I think that we overthink it a lot, and so do our teams. And a lot of times they're saying, everyone's saying no, but what they're really saying is, I don't know who to ask. I don't know how to ask. I'm afraid to ask, because they may have just started getting comfortable getting their 500 PRV in a month, and they're afraid to lose those customers. So the conversation isn't, why are you afraid of losing them? The conversation is, how can we help you meet new people? Because really, at the end of the day, you're never going to have a business survive on the same customers year after year after year. Most of the people who buy from me now are not the people who started buying from me a long time ago. Most of the people who are on my team now are not the people who joined it the year I hit director. Like, it will always stay cyclical. And so the most important thing in your business is being creative about how to meet new people. And if anyone is really afraid to recruit, or they're really afraid to flip a hostess or have their best customer join, it's because they honestly either don't want to meet new people, are too afraid to get their name out there, or they're really afraid that they're going to offend someone. But we all know that it's not offensive to ask someone to join. So just remembering that the best way to get your teams to recruit is to, number one, be doing it yourself, and to make sure that you're staying in that conversation with them, and to be like, hey, what's your hang up? What's scaring you about it? And some of them are like, well, honestly, I'm just doing this for me. I don't see the value in recruiting. Like, why would I want to make 25% of somebody's order and then recruit them and make 2%? Like, that sounds like a really bad investment. When those of us who are now in leadership and have seen what that initial investment looks like, it really does pay off in the long run. But sometimes at, certified or at lead or at star, it's like, is the 2 to 4% worth it? Has it been worth it so far? And I think it's just really important to think about the fact that sometimes when you put money into a low interest bank account at first, it doesn't seem like a whole lot is going to matter if you pull it right back out. Like, if you put $500 into a bank account that's got like 0.1% interest, you're like, what's the point? It's going to take me a million years. But then if you keep putting more into that account and you keep adding more to that 2% account or that 1% account, it's going to continue to accrue interest, and it's going to kind of roll and keep going on its own without you having to continue to add as much more or to convince it to do its job. Like, it's just going to keep going, right? You don't have to coach in a bank account to continue to accrue interest. It just does. And I think that the most important part about that is just to remember that you're making an investment. And sometimes the investments pan out and sometimes they don't. But you are always one person away from your business changing entirely. But we're never going to have that one person join if we're too afraid to ask, right? I mean, if you think about, like, I have a friend, April Nyman, who a few years ago, she felt like she had a really dead business. She had a lot of leaders that were leaving. She had a star director that was struggling in her personal life and really wasn't paying much attention to her business. But underneath that star director, somebody joined, and her name was Rachel Pence, and she joined to be a hobbyist. and then took off, right? Like, she was one person away from her business completely turning around. But if she had not coached people to talk to others, and if she hadn't worked with her downline before about, hey, it's not scary to ask someone to join. It's just part of the job. And you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for them. Because a lot of us do know that at some point in your business, you're not really recruiting people because you need a bigger paycheck. Like, you're recruiting people because you know what Scentsi's done for you, and you know how important that is for people to experience. And so I think that once we can get into the mindset of we're blessing people with this, we're not burdening them by asking, but we're just hoping that maybe they'll see what a blessing this can be for them. You'd be more willing to ask when you didn't feel like you were doing it for selfish reasons. So, but with that said, if you had 4 people on your team that you were like, hey, I think they've got the drive, they just don't have the numbers there yet, they don't have the team yet, but I think that if we could really work past some of these hangups that they have, we could get them moving that direction. And I'm sure you could think of a few people on your team that if I just really asked them what their hangup was, like, they've got the personality for it, they've got the friends, like every time they post, there's like a bajillion likes. Like, I think that if I just had a conversation with them about, like, what does recruiting look like to you? What does sponsoring new consultants look like to you? Is it a burden? Do you feel like you're, bothering them? Do you think that the rejection is going to ruin your relationship? And just be like, hey, you know what? I have felt that too. Here's how I got past that, because I think we've all felt that fear of ruining a relationship. We've all felt that fear of losing our best customer, especially early on. But just remember that if someone joins and then they decide they don't want to be a part of Scentsy anymore, they're just a customer again. As long as you took really good care of them while they were a consultant and you took really good care of them right after they quit, they're just a customer again. You're not losing them by any means. You're just taking a chance with them for a little while. And so they're just a customer again afterwards. And that's not scary at all, right? So at least like when you make a really bad investment, this way you get your money back if it goes bad. You don't lose it, right? As long as you just continue to be a good friend, you keep showing up to help them out, and you make sure that you don't bait them with something that you can't make sure it comes true. That's why we don't make income claims. That's why we don't promise them things that we can't truly promise will happen for them before they join, so that we don't ruin those relationships and we can keep things at an even keel with them. So think about the people on your teams that you're like, you know what, if I really worked with them a little bit, I think that we could get them finally willing to build a team. And you're doing that honestly because you know how much it can bless them to start building a team, just as it has blessed you. You know how much it's going to bless the people that they ask, because again, we just know how much fun this is. I mean, at the end of the day, if it doesn't change their life, it's going to at least give them a lot of fun for a little while. Because even at a hobby level, Scentsy is a blast. Like, there's a lot of people on our team who don't want anything out of Scentsy, but they have so much fun doing it. I have people who've been on my team since I joined. They don't have anyone on their team, but they still sell every month because they just have fun doing it. And that's okay too, right? And so I just want you to break down your team into just bite-sized chunks, because at the end of the day, it takes 40 parties. 40 parties is what makes a director, and they can come in any which way. But you don't want to do 40 yourself, obviously. You don't want to do 20 yourself because it's not sustainable. But how could you break those up with your team? How could you coach them and excite them to go try to have some parties? And don't let them overthink a party either. It doesn't have to be a home party. It doesn't have to be a basket party. It doesn't even have to be something that looks really much like a party. It can be like Riley's idea with the spin the wheel. That's 2 parties if you have a $600 one, right? And when I say party, I don't mean 200, I mean 300, because that's like an average well-coached party. And so if you can get 40 parties of 300 or more on your team, that's director. If you can get 4 people on your team to have them and their team do 10, that's even more bite size, right? Or if you had a team of 10 and you encouraged all of them to have a party a week for a month, just be like, hey, I want to see what happens. If you had a party a week this month, Facebook party, basket party, online event, spin the wheel, do 4 this month. I want to see what happens to your paycheck. And I want to see what it does for your family on the 10th of next month when you get it. And like, if you want help booking, I can help you. I'll give you some hostess stuff, and I'll let you, you can borrow my content for my Facebook parties, and just set them up for success so that they have to succeed. And then they get to see what making a little bit of money with Scentsy looks like, and they're going to be addicted. And it's going to be so much fun. And they're going to realize, wow, 4 parties in 1 month was not that bad. Like, I thought it would be a lot. It's not so bad. And just setting them up for success like that's going to help you get there as well. So just make sure your business stays in bite-sized chunks. Don't let the 10,000 overwhelm you to where you're like, that's so much. But it's really not if we can break it down. But it's just, if you do have a small team, if you have a star director or a star consultant sized team, and maybe you have 6 to 8 people, that is a lot for 8 people to do for sure. But if you can work with each of them individually and knock out some of their excuses for not wanting to talk to their friends about Scentsy, or even their excuses for not wanting to sell more than 500, or any of those things that they're going to bring to you on why they can't be bigger. And a lot of it you're going to find is self-sabotage because they don't think they are deserving of what they could possibly have with Scentsy, because that's really scary too. Sometimes it's really scary to go, oh my gosh, if I did that though, my paycheck would be this, and I've never made that much money in my life. Or if I did that, people would expect this out of me, and I'm just not that kind of a person because no one's ever thought I was that kind of a person, so there's no way I could be. A lot of times it's just a scary unknown zone for them. They've never either been in a leadership role, they've never ever had anyone that thought they were very good at advice, but then suddenly for some reason people do. I mean, I know people used to tell me all the time that it must be easy for me to do Scentsy because of my personality, which if anybody knew me before Scentsy, they'd be like, no, we still don't know how you're doing Scentsy. Like, that makes no sense for you. This makes no sense. If I had to pick an occupation for you, it would not have been this. Because I just got in here and I let it transform me, and I had to overcome so many self-sabotaging obstacles of saying, hey, I'm not talented at this. I'm not good at this. I don't know how to talk to people. I'm really awkward. I make people feel weird. I yell sometimes when it's really inappropriate and I don't mean to. Like, there's so many reasons that I shouldn't be good at what I do. And I think that the more you overcome your own obstacles and you show people that you were able to overcome them, they're going to be willing to try as well. And just keep helping them believe in themselves, because a lot of times they just don't, and that's why they're not trying. Because no one's ever believed in them before or ever told them that they were worth having more than they have now. And so just remind them of how capable they are, and that this is a really safe place to figure it out if you're really that person. Super safe. So if you want to push your limits and if you want to try it out, this is the place to do it. Especially with our team, with our group, you're going to be able to spread your wings and have a good time. So with that said though, it's really important as you grow your team that you don't lose track of the basics, because a lot of times I see people hit promotions in Scentsy and they're like, okay, good, that was a finish line. Okay, this is a good finish line. Oh, director, that's my finish line. And maybe they don't call it a finish line, but once they arrive, they're like, oh, finally I can relax. But what that really is, it's just a new starting line. And it's really just a place where your business is now just going to change a little bit, but it requires the same skills that it took to get there to stay there. It's PRV and it's widening your front line. Those are the basics of building to a title, maintaining your title. Because what happens a lot of times is people will get to superstar consultant or they'll get to director, and then they stop selling their $2,000 a month. They stop recruiting because they're like, I just need to focus on my team now. And they forget that people quit and people lose steam. And honestly, an older team sells less than a newer team. There's a reason that you'll see people who have teams of 8 shoot to director in under a year. It's because of that enthusiasm. When somebody joins Scentsy and they recruit a ton right in the beginning, it's almost guaranteed they're going to hit director really soon. It doesn't mean they'll stay there. As long as they keep doing what they were doing to get there, they'll stay. But a lot of times, those of us who were around a while before we decided to start really pushing for director, your team has been around for a while. And a lot of times the enthusiasm isn't there. They might still be loyal and they may never go anywhere, but the enthusiasm and the push to go, hey, I really do want to try more this month, when they're really comfortable at where they're at, it gets harder. And teams, I feel like as they get bigger, when we haven't hit director yet, they feel heavier. And so it's just really important to continue to bring in new people and and doing the best you can to grow. So you have to focus on your PRV. You have to focus on adding new people to your frontline repeatedly, because the wider you get, the more sustainable your business will be. Because if you think about it, instead of thinking that you're at the top of your business, I want you to think that you're the actual bottom of your business. You're the one that's holding the rest up. And if you are trying to build a business on a very small base and it's getting out of control, Like you have a person on your team who's doing really, really well, and then another one over here who's doing really well, and you're getting really, really deep before you've gotten wide enough to hold it, you're never going to feel like you're going to get caught up, because they're always going to keep outpacing you, and you're going to have a really hard time building your front line wide enough to sustain that growth. And so instead of thinking that you're at the top, like everyone wants us to feel like we are, I want you to remember that in direct sales, we're at the bottom, because you have to build a really large foundation in order to sustain everything that's going to come out of those people. And the wider your foundation is, the better you're going to be able to handle what's above it. Because a lot of times people will stop building their front line because they're like, I can't possibly manage that many more people. And I promise you, as your team gets older, you can. I have almost 100 frontline in the fall usually, and then I have around 70 in the spring. And I promise you, it doesn't feel like I have more frontline than when I had 20, because people will be in here for a long time. They'll start being very self-sufficient, especially the ones who are all in, going nowhere. They know what to do. They don't need you every minute of every single day like a new person does. And what you're going to do, as long as you can continue to teach them to fish instead of showing them all the answers. There's a reason that we try to point people to the workstation constantly, is because you cannot possibly be everything for everyone when you have a team of 70. But if you can start from the beginning, coaching them to find answers for themselves in a loving way, I promise you don't have to go find it yourself. I have to too. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, just saying, hey, NewsTab just released that article. Would you go find that article and share the link in our group page and let everyone know, like, hey, there was something new. Like, that's really exciting. Or I bet you, since you had a hard time finding it, could you copy the link to it and just share it in the page? Be like, hey guys, I don't know if you saw this. How cool is it? But I want you to find it. I want to see if you can figure it out. And if you can't, let's find it together. But we're both going to use the workstation. And just teaching people to use the resources they have, teaching them to use the training center, how to use Google to figure out time zones, postage, all of that kind of stuff, making sure that you keep your job description Scentsy. Your job description isn't teaching someone how to use a computer, isn't how to set up their printer. You can do those things if you really want to, but what you're going to do long term for someone is to teach them how to do research and how to find the answers to things themselves in a really loving, coaching way, right? Because at the end of the day, we can't recruit for them and we can't sell for them, but we also can't learn and absorb information for them. That's going to be something that they're going to have to choose to do themselves. And the more they see you doing it and the more you push them that direction, the more it's going to become just habit for them, and they're going to be self-sufficient. It doesn't mean they don't need you to shout them out, and it doesn't mean they don't need you to recognize them, but it does mean that they probably won't be texting you every 5 minutes. It means that they won't be texting you every day. It means they might contact you once every couple weeks. They might contact you once a month. Or when you guys do get to talk, it's celebration. It's exciting because they're working their business. You guys are having fun together, and you guys get to keep Scentsy as fun. And it shows them, oh my gosh, I could probably have a team too, because all the information's right there. All she does is use the workstation. I can use the workstation. I can teach teammates to use the workstation. I can do this too. But when they see you answering texts 24 hours a day in the middle of the night, or they see you on the phone all day long, or they see you leading trainings every single day, or they see you added to every single group message and providing all of the answers for everyone, they're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't do that. I don't have the time to be a leader like she is. So you want to make sure that when you are trying to empower other leaders, it's because they're empowered by the way you lead. And the best example you can set for them is one where you're teaching them how to lead their own businesses, run their own businesses, and really find their own success by cheering them on and pointing them in the right direction. Because if you overwhelm them, or if they think that your job is too hard, there's no reason they're going to want to do what you do. So make sure you're keeping it simple, you're keeping it replicatable, and that way also you're able to keep focusing on your own business. Because if you are focusing on your team 80 to 90% of the time, and your own business is what gets the leftover pieces of your energy and your attention, it will not grow any more than it's at right now. You're going to get stuck in one spot. You're never going to grow. And when people quit, you're not going to have the stable personal business enough to replace them and to move people into the positions that you need them to. The best way to get not paid at title for a long time is forgetting to keep building your front line. And even if you are trying to build your front line, as long as you're focusing 70 to 80% of your time on PRV and flipping hostesses into joiners and asking people that question, you will be back to paid at title in no time. And you will be able to maintain your title the second time at a much stronger pace than you did the first time. Because it's not uncommon to not get paid at title once in a while. And it's not uncommon to hit director and then struggle for a few months to hit it again, because the team that got you there is not the team that's going to keep you there. And so it's just going to continue to be cycles of regrowth in your business. And as long as you're keeping your personal business healthy and you're trying to get to 2,000 PRV every month, and you're trying to make sure you're flipping all the hostesses you can, and you're trying to meet new people, you will constantly be building that foundation wider. Because if you were able to add maybe even a person a month to your team, that's 12. And if half of them quit, you still added 6 that year. And then the next year you did it again, you're going to continue to build that foundation wider. Even if it feels like you're losing some, you're not. You're just building on whoever stayed, and you're going to keep that going. So just make sure that you remember that your foundation has to be the widest piece of your business. I think I was telling Lacey or someone the other day that I'm super competitive with how wide I can get, because as our business gets bigger, like, I don't want to lose control of it. And so I compete with all of you on a really personal level, because I can't promote anymore. So I have to find some way to set goals for myself. And so I always run reports every single month. I always force myself to be in the top 10 of PRV in our group, no matter what. I used to require myself to be number 1, but some of y'all sell 6,000 a month and I don't know how you do it. I'm not going to ask. So I don't have to be number 1 anymore. That sounds exhausting to me. I don't ever want to sell 6,000 a month unless it's like Lacey with, it's like a fundraiser and it's out the door. And then I was like, I'd be so afraid. If anybody also knows me, they know I wouldn't be able to handle it. Like, I would just lose everybody's money, and then I don't know, I'd have to quit. So I just personally can't. But if I'm in the top 10, I feel like I'm all right. And then also I like my TWV to be the highest, because that's a level in which I can compete with everyone in Scentsy, because my TWV is only my team minus all of the directors on our team. So it's literally only my frontline, their team, and no other directors. So it's like, okay, this is my little piece. And this is the one that I know that I can continue to work with. This is the one that I'm responsible for mentoring based on our policies. And I know that I can keep growing this. And so, like, my goal is always to have the highest TWV, because
okay,
I
so
control
just
that.
out of curiosity, where's your TWV right now?
My TWV right now, I don't know. Let me look. It's bigger than yours.
Oh. Hey.
I also want to have the largest team. I know that sounds completely, and it's not because I don't want you guys to beat me. It's really just me saying, come at me. I dare you to beat me. I want to fight you in the parking lot with hugs, because I hate hugs, and that is a real punishment for me. So let's hug it out. Come at me. I want you to fight me with this. And it's honestly just so I can be like, hey, I promise. I want to prove to you guys that I still work, and I still really, really push myself, because nothing's guaranteed. And I want to make sure that nobody on my team ever feels like they owe me staying. Because
so what is it?
It's loading. My TWV right now is 43,227.
Damn, I'm not even in the same ballpark. I'm like coach's pitch.
My goal is to get my TWV to superstar director by itself.
That'd be amazing.
It's obnoxious, but I like weird goals, because after you hit SSD, you got to make up weird goals, because there's nothing left for you. But then my team size is 230. So I have 230 people on my team that are not under another director. They're all mine to deal with. Shelly, Keegan, deal with them.
Love you.
You guys are stuck with me. JJ, you're on my team still. And Nicole, you are too. I'm only looking at my first page. If anyone's on my second page, I also love you. But I haven't scrolled. But like, I just really want to keep that number manageable. But if it helps, and this is not me trying to brag, this is just like, I want to make sure that I'm an example to you guys of what it looks like to continue working, even if other people think like you don't have to. So
that's a great goal.
My team is 230. Sarah Ford has the next largest team of 167. And that's people who are under her who are not currently under another director, which is a whole lot. And then she also has the next highest TWV of 31,390. So she's right behind me. So it's
coming for you.
It is, which is why it makes sense that she's hitting SSD. Like she's built to where her TWV can break out and form those new directors. That's a new, really awesome word for you guys. Without compromising her ability to get paid a title, which is really, really important. So then my team size is 230 and hers is 167. And then I currently have 30 active frontline, but that's of 74. So it's like less than 50%. And then the next highest is 19 active frontline. But if it helps you, I have 0 new recruits this month. So you're welcome. But not because I haven't asked 20 people, because I will do that. I will not stop. But Lacey Hoseman is kicking my butt with 6. So you're welcome.
Not including reinstatements, but that doesn't.
It counts, kinda.
Counts, kinda, but not really. Not
It
for
counts-
the sake of incentive.
It counts in heart, but in incentive, you're kicking booty, and I love it. So Lacey likes to kick my butt. She always asks me what I'm doing, and then she tries to beat me. So that's exactly what I like. Lacey and I, though, I just ran a report and showed her is our annual sales were within $19 of each other. So our
But who was $19 more?
Lacey Hoseman beat me by $19. Wait, was it 16 or 19? But Lacey Hoseman beat me last year by $19
Lacey Hoseman.
in annual PWV. And then
What in
Jen
the
McCool
world?
was right above us. Just so you know, Jen McCool.
Nobody
You were
cares
right
about
above
me.
us.
Sorry.
I was what?
You were above me and Lacey in annual PRV last year.
I was above?
Yeah, you were above us by 1,000.
Shut up! What?
I know, good
Oh my
job.
God.
Because
Oh my
she
God.
posted the other day, she goes, I don't even think I'm in this race.
I know.
You are leading this race. Congratulations.
Aw, yay.
Good job. I'm proud of you. I was really
We
excited when
both
I
beat
ran that
Christina.
report. And I go, look at that Jen McCool. She didn't think that she was doing anything. She's doing everything. What a
Aw.
turd. You are in the same race. So there's a lot of other names, but I don't want to spoil it. But I did mail top 10 for the year and top 10 PRV for the year and top 10 sponsors for the year gifts today. So
It's a good thing we're all sitting down.
I'm excited. Why? Because I said I mailed something? Hate you. I mailed a lot of things. I mailed a lot of things. Hey, Nicole, did you get your all consultant call prize? She did. She did. It might have been 3 months late, but she got it.
But
Oh.
did you ever mail
Appreciate it much.
Christmas?
I truly appreciate it. as well.
Christmas.
That's hilarious.
We're not talking
you
about Christmas right now.
Hey, I got my Christmas present right before quarantine.
Yes, because she was calling her.
It's not about the time, it's about the thought.
Exactly.
Well, next Christmas.
But it's also about the fact that I can't remember who I gave gifts to and who I haven't yet. So I don't even know what to do at this point. But anyway, does anybody have any questions about getting paid or anything?
Yes. He has filed grievances on companies.
That was an accidental
as
yes.
one.
Okay, it wasn't a yes for me. Okay.
Because he'll get
Does anybody else
somebody
have any
started.
questions or anything they want to shout out or even be like, hey, I'm at this. Is there something that you would suggest? So I can see everyone,
That's definitely.
which is really fun because I can stalk you. I had like a little 7-year-old at my house the other day or today, and she was watching me print mail and she goes, ew. I was like, what? She goes, how do you have all their addresses? And I was like, I have it's in my system. Anyone who's on my team, I can see their addresses. She goes, that's really creepy. I wouldn't want anyone to know mine. I don't think that's very good of you to have their addresses. I was like, but I'm sending them happy mail. She's
Our
like,
jobs were hunting.
it's,
He walked off of one of our
you can just
jobs.
walk away. And then she saw I was sending something to her grandma, and she goes, that's not even her name. Okay, troll. Back away. She thought it was really creepy that I could look at all of your addresses. If you think that's creepy too, I'm really sorry, but I don't do anything bad with them. But I don't do much good either. I try. Okay. But is anyone have any questions? Does anybody have like need me to further expand on something? I can keep talking because I love Scentsy, so you guys know that. But I want to make sure I don't.
Well, I'm super excited about my whining, aka waxing gig that I found today.
Tell us about that, and then I want Keegan to go.
So I watched one of my brand new frontline from like March. she posted on this like whining page, because like our whole state is doing this like whining where they like surprise other women with bottles of wine and snacks and little trinkets and stuff. And she posted on there, she was like, well, I've done whining, but how about waxing? Who wants waxed? And she ended up with like 65 comments. And so then she was like, well, I don't have the inventory for all of you, but I wrote down all of your addresses. So then I did it today and I got like 80 people. And I was like, holy crap. Some of these people are people that I bought for me like a long time ago. And they saw my name and they're like, oh man, I need the new stuff. Or, oh, I need like, and I was like, yes, this is awesome. So I went to the dollar store tonight and got a whole bunch of bags, and I'm just going to start like dropping off like, and then I was talking to Dawn about it today, and she was like, what if you just made that like a continuous thing? Like, what if like every week you took like 5 nominations for people that have had a rough week, and then you just started sending happy mail to like bless people and make them happy? And I was like, this is a really great idea, and it's totally up my alley.
It's a really good
that was fun.
I did the whining thing too. My sister actually added me to one of the groups that she was a part of. And I was like, well, I love wine. So I'm just going to, I love wine. I'm just going to share, you know, and then I have a ton of Scentsy samples that need to get out of my house so I can make more. So I just kind of threw a bag together and just ended up blessing 60 people with them.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Not all of them got wine. Some of them got like little juice boxes because they're not all wine drinkers. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll give you juice boxes.
That's so cool. 60.
Yeah. I was kind of, I mean, so far I've only maybe 8 people have ordered, but I'm just excited that I got my name out there. So
But that's 8 more people that you didn't have before.
Exactly.
Good for you.
Hey, Keegan, did you have something to add?
I had a question to bring it all full circle to the start of this.
Yeah.
Talking about samples, I bought, for the very first time since I've been selling Scentsy, I bought the BB&B sampler that went on sale today. And I had already talked to my people in my group, and a lot of them want samples. So I just wanted to kind of get multiple people's input on whether you think the melting it down and doing the felt is the best, or I also bought a crinkle cutter and I didn't know if sending little pieces of wax is actually better, or what do people seem to like more, because I have not had this much mass request for samples yet.
That's so exciting. What is everyone's favorite way to do that? Because I feel like I change it every time.
Felt has been far easier for me, like especially with those Wilton things. I literally just put a bar in there and then just toss in a bunch of felt, and I like by this time I can gauge how many things are felt, so I'm not like just throwing in a bunch and like maybe it like absorbs a drop. I know how many to throw in for a bar, and it is so simple.
Yeah, I like felt too, because it just soaks up and then dries really, really fast. So
and you can probably mail them for cheaper if you have to mail them out.
I mail felt all the time for the scent of the month, because I always send out scent of the month. I always at least buy the bars if I don't buy the warmer, and I always mail them out. But I used to mail them out every month, but now I do it every other month. So they'll get 2 scents, felt samples, and then 2 flyers, the flyers that come with it and everything. And I can fit that all in a regular envelope and mail for just 1 stamp. So it's really affordable.
Well, yeah. I've done the felt samples before on other things, not for 25 cents at a time, but like I did felt like for other little things, and like when we just did the season transition and stuff. My concern on that is that the scents don't all smell like the same thing when they
put them in individual baggies.
Yeah, I do. I put them in the little Scentsy, official Scentsy zips like this. because I have the felt in the mason jar shape, and I put them all in that, and then they said that they still.
I've never had anybody say that, but if they want to smell it, you can put it in the warmer for a few minutes just to like smell what it's, what it's like melting.
I recently watched a video that Allison Dalkey did, that she said all you have to do is, or what she's been telling her customers to do is to throw them in the freezer for a little bit, and then it kind of like blends back to what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, if you leave them separate.
I haven't tried it, but I figured I'd offer that. So
yeah.
I just cut my bars with a crinkle cutter because it takes too long for me.
That's
and they never make them in the bags.
Cutting was a good, yeah.
Yeah,
I like crinkle cutting because it's super satisfying.
Yes, and my customers, I've had a number of my customers say they don't really like, they're not a fan of the felt ones. Like they won't put them in their warmers. Like, I don't know. So I just, but most of mine are hand delivered, or when I put them in thank you packs that I'm going to mail out for more than a stamp anyway. So I guess it's easier for me.
Yeah, no, I still make wax samples, but for my send of the month ones, because I have 50 customers that I always, whoever's the most recent 50 customers, I just always send them felt. But as far as thank you mail and stuff like that, or parties and stuff, there's always like wax in there. But yeah.
I like the crinkle cutter too, because that's like less heat of wax. Like it's from the clamshell to the customer, and I'm not like heating it up and letting it cool. Like that's one less heat.
So that probably didn't help Keegan because we all are kind of split in the middle, but I think that just figure out whatever your customers like the best, because whatever they like the best is what they'll respond to the best, I think. So I would just try it one way this time and another way the next time and see which one gets the best results as far as like return sales. But yeah, that's good luck with all of that anyway, though, because bringing back my bar sampling is some of the most cumbersome sampling you're ever going to do. But it's fun, kind of.
That's what I wanted,
twice a year.
That's what I wanted to ask all of you too before we got off the call. But so I should bring back my bar, even because like my thing is, if I've only been a consultant for 2 years and I haven't got to experience, like since like being customers' faves and then leaving, and a lot of my customers haven't experienced that either, so I didn't know if it would still be beneficial for me.
So one thing that we used to do a long time ago, but we just got too big for us to like, as leaders, to try to organize it ourselves. But if you guys were to message some of your friends that are consultants and say, hey, do you want to split a thing of bars, you could find 8 people to split with you, and then each of you just get a cube of it, and you can make a few like sample packs out of that, probably even 6 to 10 each, and then you'd have something for your customers or something for them to come over and smell. But that way you can kind of tiptoe into it for anyone who's interested, and then you're not spending the $100-something on the whole thing. You're just spending an 1/8 of that just to try it out.
It's $15.75. My team did it. We had a couple groups on my team that did it.
Yeah. If you just find a friend or so that want to split it, even just splitting that in half with each other and each of you getting 4 cubes is also a really good thing. So whatever's clever.
But then you also never know, you might find your next new favorite, or they might find their next new favorite.
I think with Scentsy Club now, it's a better investment than it used to be. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because a lot of times the amount of time it takes to make those samples and to get them out, they end up with like a week to even smell them, and then they don't really care. Like, or they're like, well, if I don't know if I love it yet because I haven't ordered it yet, how do I know if I need to order a lot of them? And then they don't bulk up. But now with Scentsy Club, they can at least add it and get it for life. If it's something that they want to take a chance on.
So you could even market it that way. Like, here's, how many are there? 25?
Yeah.
So you can say, here's 25 new again scents. Yeah, even if you're a new Scentsy customer, you may have never smelled, but guess what? You can still get this if you like one, because you can add it to the club.
And that's how I got so many club subscribers, was the first Bring Back My Bar after we started the club. I had a bunch of people hooked, and that's how they joined the club.
Right. So, you can just market it that way and push it that way.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw this post. I don't know if it was on public, but I can try to find it and share it. But she shared flyers where it was like the OG Scentsy scents, and with Banana Nut Bread, Sunkissed Citrus, and Thunderstorm. Those are the 3 original Scentsy scents that Orville bought from Colette and Kara. And 2 of those are coming back in Bring Back My Bar. So even if you didn't buy the whole thing and you just took a focus of just a few of them and made samples of like a few of your favorites, that's probably equally as effective as doing all of them if you really had to think about budget for that. Just doing those 3 would be a really fun sampler pack for your customers where you're like, hey, the OG scents, you want samples? That's probably what I'm going to do. I probably won't be sampling the whole Bring Back My Bar. Like I bought them all because I just like to, but I probably won't cut them up or anything. I'll sell them. But then the Thunderstorm and the Banana Nut Bread, I'm going to turn into samples with a bar of the Sunkissed Citrus and just make OG sample packs.
You said, I'm sorry, you said it was Banana Nut Bread and what were the other 2?
Sunkissed Citrus and Thunderstorm.
Okay.
So that's a really easy way to
bread,
tiptoe in to Bring Back My Bar. If you've not done it before and you just want to try to market it a little bit, that's a really safe way to do it.
If you can afford and want to buy the set, do it though, because then you can make Bring Back My Bar party packs and then the people can just keep them. And then they have a cube of each one to warm as their like thank you for hosting a party. And then you can get a bunch of people hooked that way for Bring Back My Bar club subscriptions too.
You can even use them to focus your Facebook parties on just being Bring Back My Bar parties and just think of all kinds of different recipes mixed with current fragrances. And there's a lot of fun different ways you can market it that maybe aren't, because that's pretty straightforward too, Angela, because just breaking them up in cubes and then sending them out doesn't take too much work either.
How long are they usually available for?
Only 1 month. So that's why, especially as you get into Scentsy longer and you go, oh my gosh, months are like a week long. Like, especially right now when things are shipping so slow, it's going to be really hard to turn people quickly into raving fans of them. Because a lot of times if somebody can place an order in the beginning of the month and they'll receive it a few days later, they have 2 or 3 weeks to decide if they want to stock up or if they want to do XYZ. But right now, if they're not getting it until, 10 to 14 business days after they ordered it, they're pushing the end of the month. And it's not really enough time to know for them if they want to buy a whole lot more. So if you are going to make a purchase of the Bring Back My Bar sampler, don't wait to do it. Do it today so that you can get it really, really soon and then get things out as fast as possible just to make sure that they have the best experience they can for the month. So, but yeah, it's only 1 month. So it's really fun. But I do know when I first started, it was a really hard thing to market because I was new. My customers were new to Scentsy. And it was so hard to they didn't care if something was returning because they'd never smelled anything before. So finding a way to either make quick samples, get them out, follow up really well, or focus on, just 3 like that and make just a cute little sampler pack just to kind of get people's feet wet into what Bring Back My Bar is like. You can find a good way to market it easy.
There was Christina, has anybody put out a post on the Bring Back My Bars?
Like to see if anybody wants to split packs?
No, like letting all of our new people know that now that this is a good thing and now's the time to do it. I mean, I know it's good, but especially getting that information out.
Yeah.
I know I did the Star Wars and the Father's Day, so I figure if somebody else does one of those instead.
Anybody want to take over and do that and just post it in the big page? Just information about Bring Back My Bar. And then anyone who does have a good way to market it, will you post your idea as well? Just so people can kind of get a handle on it. That'd be fun. Just kind of infiltrate the group with Bring Back My Bar.
Hey, I nominate Lacey since she nominated me last time.
Oh man.
Lacey Hoseman.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
You got burned and you didn't even feel the heat.
No, I'm really upset because I was going to order some shower stuff tonight and I was like, dang it. So now I'm trying to figure out what I freaking want.
And one of those, hey, did you get the oils at least, Lacey? One of them has patchouli.
Do they?
Yeah, they sounded really good.
Yeah, one of them has patchouli. So at least get the oils.
That's your alley too, isn't it?
So I might have to order 2 of those, and then maybe my dad's getting a deluxe diffuser for Father's Day.
But anyway, Melody nominated you.
Okay, for what?
About Bring Back My Bar. And you
Is that-
do
who is that, Mike?
All the ideas. No, that's not Mike.
Who's laughing?
Ryan.
It's Ed.
He's got his feet up too.
That's the other Marine.
We're in our
You're nominated.
gazebo.
So just post something about how it was available today, and then everyone else, if you guys can post different fun ways to market it, that would be a really fun thing to do today and tomorrow, just to get people excited about it. I think with all the launches that happened today, it got overlooked, which I overlooked it too. I didn't even realize it. I didn't put it all together that it was even launching today until someone said something this morning, and I was like, "That is today." Like everything else is launching today. I forgot about it.
Today it was overwhelming. I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot
There's
about
so
that."
many things.
Cotton cleanups are back, guys.
Cotton cleanups are back.
Yeah.
I know that was huge for me. I'm like,
Adding
dang it, I
that.
didn't put on my order.
I just closed 2 parties. I'm gonna have to go order some.
Oh, the real
Yeah,
huge
right
thing
there.
will be whenever the aloe warmer comes back.
Oh yeah.
I tried to put that on a bundle, and I couldn't even get it to go on a bundle, knowing that that they would be on back order.
Hey Sarah Ford, did you get a bunch of text messages?
I got quite a few messages. Yeah.
Okay. Just wondering. Don't worry about it. Okay.
So funny story about the cotton cleanups. I gave a bag because I get one every month in my Cincy club, but I gave a pack of cotton cleanups, a whole pack, to my mom, my mother-in-law, and my sister-in-law, and all for Mother's Day, along with just a bunch of waxes and stuff. And every single one of them, they pulled those out, and they got so stinking excited about cotton cleanups. Every single one of them was like, "Oh my gosh, I needed this!"
That's a really good idea to add it to your club, because I, like,
That
for
is a good
whatever
idea.
reason, never thought about that.
I was always running out, and so
That's a
I was
really good
like,
club
to
item.
even be able to give them to customers, so just 1 pack comes a month with my Cincy club.
A really good idea.
Yeah.
I ran
But I
out
thought
of
that
them,
was
and I
just
was
so
like,
funny
it's okay.
that
I'll use
everybody-
cotton balls. No, I don't like the wax getting on my fingers anymore. I'm spoiled.
I know we all got bougie over it. I know
I need
that's what I
them to
said.
make little tiny ones.
I know they need to make one for the
Square
mini
ones.
warmer.
Yeah, I wish they would make tiny ones, because it's really hard to, like, not.
They're called cotton balls.
Hey, shush, shush,
No,
shush. I just
but
said I
see,
don't
the
want it on my
cotton
fingers.
cleanups-
We need to
You missed
protect
the
our
part where we're
perfect
bougie
little
about it.
girl fingers and little boy
Hey, but
fingers.
not only that, the
wax.
cotton cleanups just are like a thicker cotton anyway. Like, they don't, like, spread out on your warmer and get a mess and let it.
And
They're just so much
swear,
nicer.
Spoiled now. Spoiled.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm gonna let you guys go here soon, just because it's already 10 o'clock. But I did want to make one, not even really announcement, but I don't know if we've done it yet, but I've been working on it slowly. But I'm removing a bunch of moderators from the big page, not because I don't love you, but because I want to stop stressing you out. And so I'm just gonna keep directors as moderators and superstar consultants who've been with us for longer than a year, so that those of you who are new star consultants and maybe even hit it within your first couple of months, you don't feel the weight of a 1,200 person team when it comes to moderation, because you got to focus on your own business and we don't want you to worry about us. So just so that you guys don't have to worry about all the, here's another pending post, or here's another person requesting to get in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just make it just SSCs who've been with us for a year, and then directors, and make them do it, because you guys can just handle it. But that way, you guys who are star consultants, or those of you who promoted really fast, I want you guys to be able to focus on your own businesses and focusing on your own little teams and your little group messages and stuff. But if you guys can, though, make sure that you're still paying attention to the page and supporting people and welcoming new people and cheering people on when they have promotions or exciting news, just so that we can keep that energy up. Because when you are not a moderator, you're not going to get all those notifications, which is another thing I'm trying to save you from having to have.
And we can never have enough comments. So.
And we can never have enough comments on something. So if you guys
So
can
just make
cheer
that as
people
a
on.
to-do each day.
Yeah.
Like, just at least touch base in the team page to do some likes and comments each day. Like,
that way you guys don't have the pressure of it anymore. And then we'll just take over for a while and kind of like let you guys just live your life. And work on your own teams and your own PRB and your own businesses, and just support from other areas, and just really cheering people on and welcoming everyone, sharing your ideas, please. And then especially as leaders, your contribution is so valuable. So like when you're making samples, or when you're sending mail to your customers, or when you've got new ideas like Lacey had tonight, sharing those things in that big group is just invaluable. And we are so grateful for all the cool ways that you guys get creative in your business. But I also know that everybody would love to see that too. So if you guys can just focus on just contributing and cheering people on and celebrating and all the easy fun stuff, we'll take care of the really weird backside stuff, so that you guys can just focus on the fun stuff.
Backside stuff.
The weird backside stuff. Hey, you know what? That's just what we're here for.
It's okay. I got plenty.
You get the D, and then you got to take care of the backside stuff. Sorry about you. And that's just out of love. That's not because we don't think you guys can handle it. We just realized how overwhelming it was getting for some, and it's just, we don't want you overwhelmed. So we're just going to take that from you, and that way you're not getting a demotion. We're just letting you guys hang out instead. So but we're going to just remove everyone who's a star consultant.
But do train your teams on like at what point should they like come to the team page, because like you want to lead them to find their answers on their workstation first, right? So like make sure that you're leading them in the right direction, so that it's not like, what time does the sale start? In the team
we love you though.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's
we just want
people to like find that, or doing it with them.
We're only going to get bigger and bigger, and if we have all these posts just asking questions like, what time is this, or when does this come out, or whatever, like it just clogs it all up. And so that's why we're trying to streamline even like the welcomes, because we have like so many this month, which is awesome.
If your teammate asks you a question and you don't know the answer, instead of saying, hey, go post it in the big group, message your sponsor and just be like, hey, I'm trying to help them answer this question, because the best thing we can do is build relationships in this business, and the best way to do that is to help people be leaders by empowering them to lead. Because I know that usually your sponsor or your director loves when you message them, because it lets them know that they're still needed. And sometimes at certain levels you feel like maybe people don't need you all that much anymore, and it's like, I don't know what to do anymore, they don't message me anymore. So just let them, hey,
well, it lets them know that
point at me, Keegan. See you.
You're growing your business. You want this because you're like, hey, I'm working on this and I need to find this answer, and I'm.
Yeah. So just empowering them to lead, just like we were talking about earlier, is just getting them used to building their own knowledge of Scentsy, but not in like a lonely way, but just in a really like, hey, it's because I believe in you, and I know that once you can master that workstation, you're unstoppable, right? So just getting people empowered to, and it's not because we don't want to hear from them, we love them, but we really just want to celebrate, and we want to train, and we want to share ideas and keep it just a really good resource for people, is what we like that group to be.
Which if you come up with like really good ideas, please post those.
Please post your ideas, because some of you think that you don't have a good idea, but you have a really good idea.
Don't worry about it if it's something that you think somebody already made up, but you're not sure.
Matter.
Like, just what if a new person like just hopped on, which we have lots of new people, and they've never seen that before. So
absolutely. Even if it's something you think is really basic, you would be surprised at what you think isn't basic anymore. That's very or that you think is basic now, that's not basic to somebody who's new. So don't be afraid to share the basic stuff too. Because everybody has something to contribute. They just have to have the will to do it. So but you are all valuable, and you didn't get where you are on accident. So don't underestimate the contribution you can have.
So don't forget to use the search bar.
But don't forget to use the search bar, is what Shelly says. Yeah. Shelly. No.
Just saying.
But that's workstation too. It's fine.
Right.
That's just everywhere.
I get asked questions still, and I still have to go to the workstation and search stuff, because I'm not 24/7 brain here. It doesn't work.
Nope, it's fun. But anyway, I can't believe we had this many on tonight. We had up to, I think, 39, which I think is the most we've had on any call, even the all consultant one. So I'm really proud of you guys. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I hope you guys will come again next month. But then that leadership page that you guys are in, that is your safe space. So again, if your teammate does have a question that you don't know the answer to, feel free to post it in that leadership page and we'll help you, because then you get to go back to them like a rock star, like you totally knew the whole time. And it's just helping you become a better leader. When you have a place that you know you can ask questions, there's no judgment in that leadership page. We're here to help you. And it's all just a bunch of people who are right where you're at in your business, which I think is just a really invaluable resource. So just make sure that you guys use that page for everything you can. Don't be afraid to post in there. Let us know what you're working on. Let us know if we need to cheer someone on. But again, if your teammates have come to you with a question that you can't find the answer to, toss it in there. If you can't get a hold of your sponsor, that's a much looser page for you to kind of do that in, so that you can go back to your teammate with the answer. But also, same rules apply in that group though. We stay positive. We just keep all the good vibes and the culture going in there as well. So have a good night.
Bye.
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 Love you all.
Bye.
Bye. Good night, everybody.